Greetings. Hope you're having a great summer. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Dee Havig, the Director of Residence and Campus Life, and we're going to talk a little bit today about master keys. We will stress many times during RA training and throughout the year how important those master keys are, and how there's just about 6 situations that an RA will need to use the master key. Otherwise, we really need to keep track of that, keep it under lock and key, so to speak, because it does open up all the resident rooms. So today we're going to visit a little bit about that. So I'm joining you from the sunny Carillon area on the beautiful campus at Northwest College. The very first scenario that you might run into is just a resident locks their room and the keys are in there, or for some reason the roommate locked it, the roommate didn't have their keys with them, went to the shower, that sort of thing. That's one where you would simply get the master key and let the resident back into their room, but only the resident of that room. Maintenance, if a resident has requested maintenance that we can do, there's a few things I can think of, maybe change a light bulb, some of those kind of things. Again, always remember to knock 2 or 3 times loudly. When you do that, you need to get one of the room lockout maintenance door hangers, and you'll go through a lot of that during RA training. Anytime you enter a room, for whatever reason, you will leave one of those door hangers hanging on the inside of the door. Don't hang it on the outside. Somebody might come along and tear it down. So if it's a maintenance thing like that, again, we just want to make sure that we knock several times before we go in. Our health, safety, and maintenance inspections, those generally require a 24-hour notice, and your resident director will visit with you in a staff meeting about that. We set it up ahead of time. If the resident is not in the room at the time, 2 staff members. We like to have 2 staff members present anytime we have to enter a room. Again, you're going to knock several times loudly, letting them know who you are. Let them know that it's Joe the RA, and that your intent is to use the master key. Keep in mind, during health, safety, and maintenance inspections, these are not room searches. So at no time does it require opening closets, opening drawers, refrigerators, things like that. We basically are looking at some key items when we do those inspections. Fourth one would be a room search, and a room search is only going to occur after your resident director and myself consult about it to see if there's reasonable suspicion for a room search. In most cases, we like to have the Powell Police involved, and in most cases we would like to see enough reasonable suspicion. Reasonable suspicion would be that could be a tip that there was drugs in this room, could be that in the course of talking with the resident you saw something in the room. The Fourth Amendment excuse me, of the Constitution talks about things that you can see with your senses. That would be sight, smell, that sort of thing, that might lead us to have reasonable suspicion that there was a violation of a college policy or a community rule, a law being broken, that sort of thing. And at that point, we would ask that you don't do anything further than to go immediately and contact either your resident director, the on-call director, myself, or Lee Blackmore. Just a little bit more info on the question there. Again, it's not considered a search for a staff who have the right to be in a room, which you do if you're following all these protocols, if you detect something by your natural senses. At that point, then, the administration, the RD, myself, Lee, would make a determination if a room search was needed. But like I said, most of the time we try to get local law enforcement to help us with those. Another thing to keep in mind there, one resident cannot legally consent to search their roommate's side of the room, and we have to take that into account when we do something like that. Consent entry, that's another reason you might use the master key. Those would include alarm clock going off. Somebody goes home for the weekend and they have their alarm set and it's going off on a Saturday morning, and residents are knocking on your door complaining about it. Stereo left on, too loud. Bad weather and a window's left open and we notice that, and it's snowing or raining. Those are common sense entries. Again, you'd get another staff member to go with you. And again, just always keep in mind, do it in pairs and knock several times before you go into the room, and always leave a door hanger. It's happened so many times where a resident will come back from the weekend, and what's the first thing the residents are saying? Hey, Zach, the RA was in your room while you were gone. That door hanger is going to tell that resident exactly why you went in there, to shut their stereo off, to close a window, that sort of thing. So keep those things in mind. Again, keep in mind plain view exception, which is a part of the Fourth Amendment. Again, if you're seeing alcohol, those kind of things present, we need to deal with that. And sitting out on the shelf, that sort of thing, we need to go ahead and handle that like we normally would, and get it documented and take the alcohol to the office, and then the resident director will follow up with those residents. Last one is emergencies. Again, these are situations where maybe an occupant's verbally calling for help, or there's other noise coming from that room that might lead you to believe that the occupant's in danger, that there's reasonable suspicion that maybe a policy violation is happening. Maybe the occupant's been missing for a couple of days, and it's a reported missing by a roommate. Those are the kind of things that you do need to report, not only follow up on by checking the room, but follow up with your RD. There is a missing person policy that we adhere to here at the college that's really intended for us to be aware of residents that we haven't seen for a few days. Hence why you'll hear from all of us how important it is to get to know your residents, know who's living where. Obviously, we don't expect you to keep track of them day in and day out, but we do, expect that if you just haven't seen Bill around for a couple of days, that you go and visit with your RD about that, and then we can follow up and make sure that everything's okay. The other one would be imminent danger, fires, bombs, smoke, gas, electricity, lack of heat. Those kind of things might require you to get the master key and go through all the protocol we've talked about and check that out, and leave a door hanger hanging on the inside doorknob so they can they know that you went into the room. All of the above situations in most cases will require the approval of the resident director or myself. The vice president for student affairs sometimes gets involved. Lee Blackmore might be someone who's working with you on a situation. I always like to say, when in doubt, call and get clarification before you use the master key, unless in your gut feeling, your judgment that something bad is happening. Go ahead and use your good judgment, and we'll take it from there. So in a nutshell, that's really the 6 reasons that you would use your master key. Keep in mind that master key, again, I can't stress it enough. That's why you usually see it's attached to a paddle, ping pong paddle, or a board. We want it to be very difficult for you to just put the master keys in your pocket and forget about it. Go home for the weekend, that sort of thing. Again, The real key points are knocking several times. Let your residents know that you're an RA and that you need to deal with the situation. Work in pairs, even if that means taking a few minutes to get somebody else to come and help you out. Use the door hangers, hang them on the inside of the door. That will save you from a resident coming to you and wondering why you were in their room. You know, the guys down the hall told me you went in my room the other day. There was a reason for doing that. You know, keep in mind, guys, we want the reasonable right of privacy, just like the residents do. And so we want to be careful in the situations that we would enter a room. So anyway, I'm looking forward to working with all of you, and enjoy the rest of your summer. It's going fast, and we'll see you on August 9th. Thank you.